Let's talk about a concept that was discussed by the finance minister very recently. She spoke about the orange economy. And we've spoke about the gig economy, and we've spoken about several other things where you don't do a typical 9 to 5 job. This is along those lines, where it's a creative economy that is growing in India. You've heard of concerts, you've heard of experiences, people going out and spending money on these things. Well, the people that are contributing to make this happen are part of the orange economy. So you're talking about artists, you're talking about musicians, you're talking about filmmakers, various other participants in this entire journey. We'll talk about what it means for you to participate in this and whether you can do this as a career, as a life. Anant Ladda, founder of Invest Aaj for Kal, and Sakshi Jain, a finance content creator and finance educator, joining me today. Thank you so much to the both of you for taking the time. Anant, I'll start with you first. What have you heard about this, and have you come across people that are actively pursuing this now?
Absolutely. Firstly, thank you so much for having me on the show. Always wonderful discussing important topics and new topics with you. As rightly said, Finance Minister ma'am has recently talked a lot about orange economy. It basically referred to economic activities which are driven by creativity, culture, and intellectual property. Uh, if we want to divide it, probably we can divide it in 3, 4 parts. Starting off with media and heritage, we can even include design and fashion in it. Even social media creators are a part of orange economy. And finally, visual effects, gaming, comics, artists are part of orange economy. I think, yes, a lot of creators are making good money. A lot of artists are making good money. A lot of creative people are making good money. But at the same time, we have to be aware of the concept of 90-10. 90% of the people in any field are mediocre or below average, and balance 10% are making a lot of money. And this percentage gap increases when we talk about creativity, because creativity is something which is natural and it has to be worked upon and it takes a lot of time. So absolutely, yes, you can be a part of this economy. But as a professional and as a creator myself, I always suggest take it as a hobby to start off. Don't miss out on your education, or don't miss out on your regular job. Start it as a side hustle, and once it start giving you returns in money terms, you can probably pursue it and be a part of this wonderful economy.
Fantastic. I feel lucky to be speaking to the 10% today, because both you and Sakshi are very successful at what you do, and you all are both very successful content creators. Sakshi, from your perspective then, when does this side hustle or this hobby turn into the entire game, and what does it entail? Because ultimately, as a content creator, you're not doing a 9 to 5. In fact, if anything, you're giving more than certain other people do at their jobs.
So, according to me, recently, as the government has started talking about this creator economy, everyone wants to start creating content. But obviously, as Anand said, everyone cannot monetize it. So, according to me, there should be, I think, instead of just going with the emotions, they should actually value it in actually rupee terms. If we think that their monetary value, the amount they are earning from these incomes are actually exceeding maybe 60, around 50% of what they actually earn over a period of consistent period of 6 to 8 months, maybe then they should look this as taking it as a full-time career, not just starting it out, leaving the job and taking a big risk, and just starting out because of emotions and because everyone is talking about it. And apart from that, I feel before starting all these things, they should have certain things in place, like the emergency funds, the insurance they should have. Basically, they should have a backing, and then they should get into this becoming a part of orange economy.
Yeah, that's a fair point that you're raising. Anant, now, it's actually pragmatic what Sakshi has just talked about, and she's kind of also weighed in on what you just said, which is do it for a little while, have a side hustle, and then if it works out, take the plunge. But let's face it, in the world of creativity, you can be flying high one day and the next day you can just crash and burn, right? Which is the sad reality. So people might find you interesting for a little while, and then you'll find your metrics dropping over a period of time. So should you have an alternative ready? Should you be prepared for that kind of failure?
totally in connect with what you are trying to say. I feel that being in a creative field, even if you're a comedian or if you are an artist, you are performing an art, there might be few months where you are getting a lot of work, and in other months you might not get a lot of work. So you can follow three simple rules. Firstly, you should try and avoid fixed commitments, specifically of AMIs and debt, specifically if you are in a creative field, and you should, especially in the initial 2-3 years of your career, you should not have a lot of fixed debt commitments on your back. Secondly, if you are already employed somewhere, if you have a regular flow of income for initial 3 years, don't stop your regular flow of income. Your regular flow of income will give you freedom to be more creative, will give you freedom to say no to some projects which you don't want to do, but at times you are forced to do because of the financial conditions. So this second point you need to take care of. And finally, have emergency fund in place. Usually I say that 6-month emergency fund should be there to take care of your expenditures, and it should be equal to the amount of expenditure you're doing per month, multiply by 6. I would say if you are in a creative field, make it a 12-month kitty, so that you are well off. And if you think that putting 12 months of your expenditure in a debt product or an FD is not yielding you returns, probably you can park it in zero coupon bonds, or maybe you can park it in floating interest funds, which might work out as an alternative, and at times might give you some additional returns or maybe some alpha also. Even we have new product which is SIF. Maybe you can consider that as an option.
Let me ask you this then. When it comes to investments, Sakshi, when you're earning in fits and starts, you've already talked about an emergency fund, right? So if that's the first thing that you do, as you've pointed out, as Anant has pointed out. But if you are earning in fits and starts, which is the same as a gig, but then you're talking about usually content creators which earn a lot of money, how should you invest that in your opinion?
See, according to me, yes, some content creators do earn a lot. But according to me, instead of seeing what they earn monthly, they should maybe consider it quarterly. So I wouldn't say SIPs are very good options for creators if they don't earn a fixed monthly income. They can invest quarterly. So maybe just start by SIPs with not just monthly investments, quarterly investments, so that they can plan their taxes properly, as well as the income properly, because we know some creators might earn a lot, but the income is actually very fragmented. Some months might really be good, but some months wouldn't be great for them. So according to me, they should actually plan the finances quarterly and invest in things which they actually understands. The basics can be investing in mutual funds instead of just putting the money across cryptos, across stocks, if they don't understand them.
Fair point. All right. Anant, from the perspective of long-term saving, right? Usually when people get into the creative economy or creator economy, they're not really thinking about retirement. They're not thinking what happens when I stop doing this, right? They're effectively doing it thinking that they will do it for quite a while. But having said that, they don't have the advantage of a provident fund or various other things that are provided, right? A corporate insurance. So how do you take care of those safety nets? What do you put in place?
I feel we can have a process in place. For example, whatever you're earning money, you can divide it in 3 parts. First part can go towards your needs, whatever you want to expend to be more creative or to have a concert or have a meetup, and whatever you want to do to sustain your business, you can put that part to run your day-to-day life and to run your business. Second part, 1/3 of it, you can put it towards your aspirations. Probably you want to plan your home, you want to plan your vacation or something aspirational which you have in mind. And finally, the third part, you should put it out for a long-term planning, specifically targeting at the retirement thing. I know creative people don't get retired so easily, and they feel that we'll take retirement at 75, 80, or maybe we won't be taking retirement. Whatever be the case, have a retirement corpus in place. You can follow FIRE principle, and looking at the FIRE principle, you can calculate the amount of money which you need to get retired. Even if you're not retiring, at least target for that corpus so that you can park it in long-term investment options. Best option is to park it in a mutual fund portfolio. We can have a mix of multi-cap funds, some flexi-cap funds, and just to add some additional exposures, you can have some small cap funds as a kitty. if someone is a bit defensive, probably asset allocator funds might also make some sense. So we can have a combination of 4 5 funds and plan your retirement plan accordingly, so that even if something happens tomorrow, even if you have a bad period in your faces, because in creative fields there will come long patches of period where you are not creative that much, probably new ideas are not coming, or it's just not your thing and it's not clicking. That times this funds, this kitty, this portfolio will help you sail through.
Yeah, you said it. And who better to say it, right? People who are doing it right now. Anand, Sakshi, thanks so much for taking the time for speaking to me, and pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, that brings us to the end of this edition of Your Money Matters. Let us know if you're looking to enter the orange economy and what you think about what we just discussed. In the meanwhile, stay tuned. This is NDTV Profit.